bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today with the Asics Sonicblast, one of two new blast shoes to have released. I was testing the Mega Blast last week. That one is a transcendent banger. So today I'm going to tell you how the Sonicblast compares and where it might fit into your rotation. Now, if you are looking for a new running shoe, you are in the right place. An even better place would be my app. It's called the Supwell app, and I started it so people could get the best gosh dang deals on running shoes. So here's how it works. Somebody might buy a shoe like the Sonicblast or the Nova Blast or the Super Blast or the Mega Blast. They put one run on it or two runs on it. It doesn't work for them. Maybe it's the wrong size or they have something else that's better in their rotation. So they list it on the app for well below MSRP. So if you're looking for the best deals on running shoes, the best deals on running gear, or a supportive community to help keep you getting after it day after day after day, putting in the work daily, get in with us and enjoy today's video. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I had to bring out the arsenal today. No Premier League. We brought out the full arsenal of shoes. I'm excited for this one. Asics Sonicblast. People are telling me this is a misunderstood shoe, and there's nothing that I love more than a misunderstood shoe. Now, I usually try to ignore and not read anything. For example, you know how Reddit will send you the weekly digest of all the top posts in the forums, and the Supwell app, of course, does the same thing, and people will just post on the Supwell app, Sonicblast review, YouTube videos come up, Instagram posts come up. I will try to ignore all of that until I run in a shoe, and sometimes it's impossible. Like with the case of the Sonicblast, people have told me verbatim, I think this is one quote somebody said, I'm paraphrasing, but they said, the sponsored reviewers seem to be dodging the fact that the Sonicblast does not perform how they wanted it to. So by sponsored reviewers, I think they mean the people who are sent the shoe for free by Asics, maybe didn't like it as much as they wanted to and weren't saying that, or maybe they did straight up say they didn't like it as much as they wanted to. And then I've heard other people say they just didn't understand the shoe. Now, I love misunderstood shoes because there is just such a small percentage of shoes out there that are truly bad, and I think sometimes these shoes, and it's funny because people always tell me I'm using shoes wrong, and it's a joke on this channel at this point, but sometimes these shoes are being used wrong. Something like the Endorphin Trainer, for example. This guy right here, this guy. Boom, that's some better lighting on the Endorphin Trainer, the Citron colorway. People were trying to use this thing as a speed shoe or just comparing it to the speed shoes. No, this is not a speed shoe, man. It's funny though, the 20-mile long run I did first run in this, I did do some marathon pace repeats, and it felt fine for that, but that's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to be a fun, cushion, long run cruiser. Misunderstood shoe, because if you take this thing and you try to run 5K pace in it, regardless of what your 5K pace is, or if you take this and you try to compare it to the Hyperion Max 3 or the Asics Magic Speed 4, it's not going to feel as fast. This is more of a stable, fun, long-run shoe with some bounce. Just because it has a plate doesn't mean that it's the fastest thing ever. Now, I'm getting the sense that the Sonicblast is having some of the similar complaints or issues as the Endorphin Trainer. And the Asics lineup is crowded. They do have the Magic Speed 4 right here. We've actually seen leaks of the Magic Speed 5, and this just looks like an absolute shoe trap right now. We've seen leaks of the Magic Speed 5. The direction they're going with that is way lower, almost an old school Rebel, or maybe even a more amped up Nike Streakfly OG. So making the Magic Speed more of a track day fast interval shoe, which would put the Sonicblast in that long run cruiser, do it all kind of speed shoe territory. And so that's why I wanted to bring out the full arsenal of shoes today that we can compare it to. I feel like Currency with his cars, man. You know, Currency has something like 50 cars. I was actually listening to the new 830. It dropped last Saturday in the car today, and I think Currency is my favorite rapper, man. Just the consistency, the work ethic, the positivity, the motivation, and then staying in his own lane. He was one of the rappers who pioneered the whole independent movement, and the other thing is he just posts up in New Orleans. He doesn't go to all the industry stuff. I just love what he has built. But yeah, he has 50 cars. I feel like RC bringing this all out here today. But I think some of the shoes that the Sonic Blast would be best compared to, likely going to be something like this. Neo Vista 2 Max Stack shoe, top soft layer of foam. We could even maybe compare it to the Mach X2, but this thing is fast. This thing is aggressive, and I'm guessing that's why the Sonic Blast is not being understood or not getting positive reviews. And maybe it is an absolutely terrible shoe. I doubt it, because Asics has just been on this dominant winning streak, and they're putting out really solid stuff. Another shoe that we could compare it to, something like the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5 here. And this is the shoe that actually keeps coming to mind for me, because you have the Nova Blast, right? A lot of people get this as their daily trainer, and the Sonic Blast is building on the Nova Blast platform with the FF Blast Max, and then it takes the layer of FF Turbo Squared from the new Mega Blast, and boom, it smushes these two together with a plate in the middle. I think they're calling the plate something like the Astro plate is the name, which is funny to me. But it's a combination of the Blast here and the Turbo, smushing them together. And the Nova Blast right now is the most popular daily trainer out there. If you go to a run club, if you go run around New York City, you're going to see a ton of the Nova Blast out there on the West Side Highway. And then the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5, in the shoe sicko community, this has lost its status as the top speed shoe. But if you go out there in the real world, man, the Speed 5 is still so prominent. You'll see so many Endorphin Speeds at your local 5Ks. This is the Cliff Bar. This is the Cliff Bar of running shoes. You need a snack at a gas station, grab a Cliff Bar. You need a speed shoe when you walk into a local running store, you're going to walk out with the Speed 5. So my take is the Sonic Blast is looking to blend some of that Nova Blast identity with what has been made so popular about the Speed 5, bring it to market at a more approachable price point, $180, and offer everyday runners a shoe that is capable of speed. So that's the key thing right there. And we've been having this conversation on the channel this week about me as a reviewer, just my personal preferences. The Sonic Blast is not a shoe that I'm going to use for a workout. I'm not going to take the Sonic Blast out for 5K pace repeats at a 4:58 per mile pace or a 5:08 pace, right? But for me, I could use it for everyday miles. I could use it for recovery runs. I could use it as a fun daily trainer. And with this category of shoes in general, that's how lots of people use it. People are using the new Mach X3 as a daily trainer. People use the Speed 5 as a daily trainer. People use the Hyperion Max 3 as a daily trainer. So that's really the crux of where Asics, I believe, is going with this shoe. And it's hard for them to fully market it, because they're not going to say this is a speed shoe for slower runners, or this is a slower shoe than the Magic Speed 5. And that's where the copy gets muddled, because you can't say, oh, the Turbo or the Blast, this is the fast shoe, and the Sonic Blast is a less fast shoe. So that's where it gets confusing. But my hypothesis here is that the Sonic Blast is a less fast shoe than the Mega Blast, and hopefully it will be more exciting slightly than the Nova Blast, with more bounce and more capable of long runs. If it can be a better version of the Nova Blast with a smoother geometry, less of that heel chop, because the main issue for me was that at some recovery and slower paces in the Nova Blast, I sometimes felt like it was just too choppy. If that's what it can be, maybe a bouncier, more exciting version of this guy here, the Glide Ride Max, then it will be a banger, right? And I'm actually worried that they're going to cut the Glide Ride Max because they're going in the direction of this new Blast franchise. But hopefully that is not the case, but there's only one way to find out. First, let's actually take this thing out of the box and get a first look. Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop, woo, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. I don't know why I'm doing that. Oh, baby. Man, looks of this, absolute banger, man. This is a stunner, 10 out of 10 when it comes to the aesthetics of this. This is just so clean. The cream off-white upper, so it's actually two different colors. This is slightly off-white, and there's the pure white on the midsole. Nice rocker. You get this bright, oh, look at that, the bright orange, red rubber on the bottom. It just looks really nice. And they had two other colorways, and I will usually try to get the colorway that is not the main press one, just because, I don't know, everyone gets the press ones. I want to look like I bought the shoe with my own money, not like the brand sent it to me. But this was the best one by far. So I went for swag over, I don't know what the alternative would be, but the yellow one wasn't that great. The blue one wasn't that great. They did have a nice reddish pink one. It was a red, pink, orange in the women's colorway, but I'm a size 10.5 men. I cannot fit in a women's shoe. Some people do that. I know a lot of guys who are size 9, 9.5. Sometimes they'll get the women's colorways because a lot of the times they are better. But we now finally see brands putting purple and pinks again on the men's colorway. This looks really sweet. Let's see, good padding around the back. It really has a lot of that Novablast identity with the look. If you told me this was the Novablast 5, I would 100% believe you. I mean, other than the fact that it has a plate in it, but it very much looks and feels like a Novablast in hand. I am noticing, seems like it's slightly on the heavier side, and when I just did that push test here, man, this is a firm top layer of foam. So that could be where some of the criticism is coming from. If this is a firmer shoe with less of the comfort than competitors, plus not as fast as you would expect, if it's a less comfortable version of the Mach X2 that's not as fast, then I could understand what the issue is. But good rocker right here. Top layer of the Turbo 2 foam. Let's see. I'm just going to try to compare it to the Mega Blast. And I do have 112 miles now on the Mega Blast. I put 12 more miles on it yesterday. I did my cool down in this, and then I did my afternoon run in this. This has just been my workhorse recently. Absolutely love this thing. So let's see. This feels softer to me, but it could be because of the mileage. I don't know. And then the bottom layer, I was thinking this is FF Blast Max. Let me confirm. Hold on, let me confirm. Okay, yeah, it is FF Blast Max. It just feels, the reason I wanted to reconfirm on the Running Warehouse page is because it just feels firmer. Man, this is giving me some Super Blast 2 PTSD because it looks so good, but just pressing in all these foams, it seems firm. So I think that could be the one potential downside of this shoe. If it's giving us that Super Blast heel chop with the chunky heel back here, I mean, it looks like the Super Blast as well. I didn't even bring that out, but man, this does look oddly similar to the Super Blast. It does. It really does. Oh gosh, is that going to be? It's very stiff like the Super Blast. Even the bottom outsole looks like the Super Blast. Oh no. But yeah, this is FF Blast Max on the bottom. On the Running Warehouse page, I'm reading it right now. It says the FF Blast Max is there for plush fun, while the Turbo Squared is there for bounce. So bounce, and then the thermoplastic Astro Plate is there for propulsion. That's according to the Running Warehouse page. So we'll get the specs and everything. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to get a feel for. I can't imagine it being bad, but the thing is, with the Mega Blast, it was so good without the plate already, and that's one of the reasons why I've loved this. It just proves you don't need to do a plate. You don't need to do any gimmicky technology. You could bring a banger to market that just has a thick stack of great foam with a nice geometry, and there you go. So this is going back to the dual foam. It has the plate. I don't know. Let's get the specs and see. You know what's crazy, man? If you Google Sonic Blast, the Asics Sonicblast is not the first thing that comes up. Go ahead and try it. I don't know if it's a geographically different thing, but at least in the US, if you Google Sonic Blast, there's a drink called the Blast at the fast casual or fast food restaurant, Sonic. That will come up first. And then there's also some sort of I don't know if it's a fighting move or a sort of energy boost or something that the video game character does, but Sonic the Hedgehog, he also has the word blast associated with him. So if you Google Sonic Blast, the word Sonic Blast and a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog will come up. So Asics is actually third in the SEO rankings for Sonic Blast, behind milkshakes from the fast food restaurant and a move by the video game character. I was surprised to learn that. All right, let's do the weigh-in here. There's a ton of shoes out here. It's a lot of dual foam trainers at the shoe market. Got the haters mad, man. All right, where should we start? Hoka Mach X2. I got the Mach X3 coming, and by the way, I got that feel again. You know that feel when we're just locked in? You know, Currency is doing the Andretti series right now. I was talking about this, so he's just dropping mixtapes every month. I had this feeling in July as well, because all those July 1 releases, and we were just dropping new shoes daily. I've got that feeling again. The Mega Blast. I even had to pop out with the Ghost Max 3. Asics Metaspeed Ray, Asics Sonicblast. We got the Mach X3 on the way. We got other carbon shoes you don't even know about on the way. We got this, we got that. Let's go. I got that feeling locked into the shoe tube grind. 269 grams in the Mach X2. By the way, Mach X3, you can't complain about the weight. The weight is going up because everyone complained about the upper. So they had to put more padding and all this stuff on the upper to make it heavier. But 269 grams. That's pretty solid. Of course, we have to put our friend the Mega Blast on the scale here. My new favorite shoe. 250 grams. I actually think was the other one 249. It was just about 250. Let's see. Glide Ride Max. So this is a comfort-oriented shoe, max cushion shoe. One of the best, just slept on, underrated shoes out there. 303 grams. This is a high mileage training champ, man. If you run a lot of miles and your legs are beat up and you want comfort and support and pop, that's going to be the Glide Ride Max. And just from what I've seen so far on this guy, I think this is actually going to be firmer than the Nova Blast. So I'm starting to see where some of the potential issues the reviewers may have had with the Sonic Blast are, but let's move on to the Neo Vista 2. So I was hoping that, or thinking maybe the Sonic Blast would be more like this, but just feeling the firmness of the foam, I do not think so. This is 286 grams, dual foam with the carbon fiber, with the plastic plate, big tall stack of foam, and gosh, the mosquitoes are out. I really thought summer was over, and then this week it's been 80 again, 85, 86 in the afternoon, and the mosquitoes are still out here. It's crazy. 286 grams in the Neo Vista 2. Just going to bang out the rest of these quickly. We have the Magic Speed 4. So what's likely happening is that the Sonic Blast is slotting into the Magic Speed slot. Now with the new Magic Speed 5 going down in stack and being more aggressive, because this was up near 40 millimeters. So this is 256 grams. That's pretty light. We have the Endorphin Trainer. Nice, soft, and bouncy on the top layer with that firm bottom layer. 300 grams. This is more similar to the Glide Ride Max. Now the two shoes that I think are really going to be going head-to-head with the Sonic Blast, Hyperion Max 311 grams. This is on the heavier side, but you get the top layer of PIBA, plastic plate, bottom layer of a supercritical EVA. Blend, really tall. It actually has a pretty restrictive upper, which is the one downside, but a mileage workhorse. This thing just crushes mileage. It does have this firmer, more robust feel to it. On the other end of the spectrum here, softer shoe with the plastic plate, very flexible. Saucony Endorphin Speed 5, also lighter weight at 259 grams because it's lower to the ground. And then we can finally put our friend, actually, no, we can't. We got to put the Nova Blast on first. Nova Blast, 272 grams. So would you look at that? That's in the middle. 260, 270, 310. Let's see where the Sonic Blast is coming in. 271. So would you look at that? Right as I suspected, man, is in between the Speed 5 and the Hyperion Max 3. So maybe that's what this thing will be. I'm really thinking they're trying to make this the every person's speed shoe, every person's do-it-all trainer. Let's see. I'm going to put the other one on for a QA check. 271.8. Left side, 273.5. Great job, Asics. Nice QA. All right, man. Stack check on the Sonic Blast. This is looking scarily like the Super Blast from behind. I don't like it. I don't like how much this looks like the Super Blast. I don't like how the midsole is giving me firmness levels of the Super Blast on the push test. It's scaring me. I'm telling you, it's scaring me. I'm wondering, is this going to be another potential hypothesis? Could this be a pseudo Super Blast 2 replacement because the Superblast 3 is going to be softer. I don't know. Enough with the conspiracies. Oh, my man's putting in work. Let's go, brother. Hobby jogger lifestyle. He's getting active. All right. Left side stack on the Sonicblast. 85.9 inches. No, this is not. We got to correct this thing. Oh, man. My tools were behaving, and now they're misbehaving. All right, this is borderline form of mental torture out here getting chewed by mosquitoes, trying to make a faulty stack checker work. See, the other one is easy to just do it manually. This one, not so much. Okay, there we go. Left side, 44.4 millimeters a stack in the Sonicblast. That's nice and tall. That's pretty much what I would expect. And for the weight, 270 grams, that's not bad. That's pretty lightweight. I was honestly expecting this to be more like 285, 290. And then 45.5 on the right. Let me get one more just to make sure we're accurate. Boom. Yeah, so right around 44, 45 in the back. That is very close to the Mega Blast. That's a touch taller than all these other shoes. That's very similar to the Mach X2 out of the factory. Man, competitive on paper. The stack is high. The weight is low. What else could you want? It's just all going to come down to the ride. How does the ride compare to the Mega Blast and all these other shoes in the category? There's only one way to find out. Watching greatness in action. I think it's because I was raised in the 2000s in Massachusetts, and we had Celtics, Bruins, Sox, Patriots all winning chips. So whenever I see dynasty level domination, 2000s Patriots, of course, 2010s Warriors, the 2020s Chiefs, I love it. I root for it. I get excited, and that's what Asics is doing right now, man. So they are just hit after hit, winning chip after chip, slugging it out in every category, dropping heaters, bringing the most innovative products to market is next level, and we just gotta give it up, man. It makes me so happy. A lot of people want to tear down Steph Curry. A lot of people wanted to tear down Tom Brady, want to tear down LeBron. No. Shout out Asics, putting in work. Dynasty of stack. All right, lacing up the Sonicblast here. Fit is true to size for sure. Way more room up in the upper than the, what's the other one? The Mega Blast. How could I forget the Mega Blast? No. Yeah, this is also a, so let me see. The upper here, it reminds me some of the Magic Speed with just how weird that one fit. Just the material. It doesn't feel the most refined. It has some of that classic upper scratch test. Hold on. Can y'all hear that? Sound like DJ Premier. Yeah, it has some of that scratchiness to it, but the fit is good and very firm. Step in, man. This is reminding me some of the Superblast, and I'm actually curious why they decided to do it this way. Now, I know the Turbo 2 is supposed to be the race foam or the bounce foam, and then, or the Turbo Squared, and then the Blast Max is supposed to be the training foam, but the Blast Max is definitely softer. I always think putting the softer foam on the top for a training shoe makes more sense. And yeah, push test on these, I don't know. I mean, Asics knows what they're doing though, so we'll have to see. But yeah, very super blasty on the 7. Super blasty, except the geometry feels a lot better just right away than the Superblast. The rocker here is really nice. I mean, this toe spring is great up in the front, great rocker here. I also think if you're landing on the forefoot, this is going to be really nice because you get a lot of forefoot specific curve up here, forefoot specific assistance, and then the rocker in the back is good too. Seems nice and smooth back here. So let's do a walk test. All right, this is it's definitely a running shoe, not a walking shoe, but it is a lot firmer than I expected. So just out of the box here, firmer, more, I wouldn't even say more stable than the Mega Blast, but just a different feel. Yeah, on the firmer side, we'll just have to see how it does out there on the run, but I have to say the fit is comfortable. It's not as tight as the Mega Blast, absence of anything bothersome. It looks great. It feels like a fast running shoe for sure when I put it on. So we'll just have to see. So far, it seems fine. That's my early reaction to it. It seems fine. We'll just have to get a good feel for it out there. Plan for this run, 10 to 12 miles aerobic, just getting out there, moving the legs, maybe do some pace pickup. I don't know. That probably not. Today's goal is just mileage. I did a really hard workout yesterday. What was it? 6 by 1200 at 5K pace. Beast, and then a 2 mile push at the end. So I really want to take it easy. I've just been crushing a lot of mileage and volume. So today, just about the time on feet, get a good feel for these at a pace that a lot of people will be running. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll just have to see. This is an interesting one to get a feel for. Oh, that's different, man. I can really just, first few steps here, I can really feel the bottom layer of Blast Max working. That is so unique. Yeah, so, okay. What's coming to mind for me first with this is impact absorption. It's not reading as super firm, but dense. Almost like the Ghost Max 3. Just feels like it's tuned to be super supportive. One weird thing though is that Blast Max on the bottom, just out of the gates here, almost feels like it's dampening the bounce. Yeah, like the ride just feels slightly muted. Another shoe that's coming to mind is On Cloud Boom Max. This feels like a better version of what they were trying to do in that. Long time on feet, impact absorption, the denser foam with the bounce, accessible racer. Man, my legs are trashed. Might be only getting 10 today. Gosh. Yeah, it has this very subdued, chill quality to it. It's not aggressive. The Blast Max on the bottom really has this dampening effect. All right, this is a really interesting one. Early overreaction, I don't know, it's fine, it's good, it's not bad, not a crazy banger. Honestly, it's kind of nice for a day like today where I'm just jogging along here. Good geometry, good protection. It really does feel like it's designed to be a 4-hour marathon shoe or your first plated shoe.
I think that's the thing that these brands tiptoe around so much and don't want to say, because then they get slammed like On did. But I really think that's the target market for this. First time race shoe, bigger runner race shoe, or just accessible, more accessible, especially with that 180 price point, and given the plethora of options that Asics has. And I mean, for that intended use case, is nice. It's much, I think it's gonna be much less polarizing than the Superblast. It's very easy to run in. Yeah, and also now going downhill here, putting more force into it, I'm getting more bounce back. And you gotta realize, like with the Mega Blast, not everyone's gonna shell out $225 for a shoe. The Mega Blast is a true sicko shoe. 180 is a lot more palatable to somebody. My issue with a lot of the plastic plated shoes is that most of the time they just end up being worse versions of the race shoe counterpart by design, right? But the ones that I love, they're given something different. Neo Vista 2, given something different. Soft comfort, not aggressive. Hyperion Max 3, given something different. That wide, chunky base, robust feel. We don't care if it's heavy because it's a tank. And the Mach X3, to me, it is a worse version of a race shoe, but it's just executed so well that it's one that I enjoy. Now this, it might fall into that category of the shoes that I like because it doesn't seem like it's trying to be a worse version of an aggressive race shoe. And that's the complaint a lot of people had with the Magic Speed 4. No, this is stability, support, structure, underfoot comfort for time on feet for someone who doesn't want the aggression of a race shoe. So yeah, it seems like that's what they're trying to do out here on the run. And for that, the execution is solid. Seems like it's really fine-tuned for that 8, 9, 10 minute pace range. That was mile 1, by the way, 8:12. Yeah, this is definitely not super fast, but it's not designed to be. It's twice the weight of the Metaspeed Ray, which we had yesterday. This is engineered to have more comfort, more stack, more relaxed version of the Magic Speed. I gotta say, I'm loving the protection for this pace for me. More of a chill pace. Definitely excels at the 8 minute pace range in a way that the Mega Blast did not. Now, that thing is amazing, but just the one area that it wasn't the most optimal was recovery runs. But I've still been doing them in it because I like the bounce. But this just feels more natural. I think especially if you're putting down more force, it's gonna feel great at this 8 to 9 minute effort. I think the biggest issue with this shoe might be the name. Sonic Blast. That sounds like the fastest shoe on the market, Sonic Blast. But I get it. Asics is smart and they know for American consumers, everything needs to be fast. It's like in the car world, every SUV needs to be rugged and off-road oriented and have knobby tires, X-Line terrain package. So they're slapping crazy body kits on SUVs or car-based crossovers with 4 inches of ground clearance, just slapping black trim on them to make them look more like trucks. Same thing is happening here, man. This is not a fast shoe, but they're marketing it that way because every shoe needs to be marketed that way. I mean, if you look at the slowest possible shoe out there, go look at the marketing copy for the Hoka Arahi or something, or a Saucony stability shoe. They're still going to talk about the bounce and the rocker tips you forward for speed assistance because that's what sells. That's what people want. But man, compared to everything else out there, this is not fast at all. It is really not. It's all about the protection in that underfoot sinking in feel. On the Running Warehouse page, they said FF Blast Max on the bottom for plush fun. That's a good word to describe this. It is very plush. I don't use that word a lot, but it is very plush. You sink down into it, great comfort. Yeah, for me, this might become a nice max cushion cruiser recovery shoe. For someone else, depending on your pace range, could be that half marathon or marathon shoe if you want comfort. More stable, a lot more stable than the Neo Vista 2, and just less weird. That's another selling point of this. Not a lot of weirdness to it on the run. The drop is in the normal range. The heel doesn't feel overly chunky or anything. There's not a lot of plate feel. Just comfortable with decent pep and lots of support underfoot. I really think this could have been the S4 Plus 2.0. That's the vibe it's giving me. That was a good game last night, man. What a way to start off the season. Cowboys, Eagles. It's just crazy. Jalen Carter, he's now most famous for being involved in a high-speed car crash and spitting on the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. It's not really what you want to be known for. But I guess if you're a defensive tackle, here's the thing, that's the most aggressive position in all of sports. You're going to get hit on every single play, and your goal is to hit somebody on every single play. He's supposed to be the most aggressive person, and he's on the Super Bowl winning team. So I guess that makes him the best aggressive person out there. So I don't know, it's hard. I was watching the game with Charles, and she was saying, man, these guys get paid to be as aggressive as possible, smashing each other, and then he's gonna get suspended and kicked out for spitting. But it's like we have to have this guise of sportsmanship, etc. Of course, I don't condone spitting on anybody, but it's just hard because we want them to be as aggressive as possible, try to kill the other guy until the whistle blows. Until the whistle blows. Shake his hand. Go drink tea together when the whistle blows. But yeah, that was a good game, man. Jalen Hurts balling out. I always try to get him on my fantasy team. I don't have him on either of my teams this year, but he's just a stud, man. Just a stud. That's America's QB. Jalen Hurts. Just silently putting in the work. And then tonight we got Mahomes, Chargers, Chiefs. That's actually Mason's favorite team, the Chiefs, just because of Mahomes. And what am I supposed to do though? Make her, no, don't like the Chiefs. You should like the Patriots because that's who I like, even though they haven't won a playoff game since you were, no, I don't even know if they haven't won a playoff game since you've been alive, but you should like this team because that's who I like. They're terrible. they'll probably win 3 to 4 games a year. This year, they'll probably win more. But it's hard. What was I supposed to do, right, in her formative years? Also, the only game that kids really watch is the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs just been in the Super Bowl every year since she was born, pretty much. I mean, when Charles was pregnant with her, that was the crazy Mahomes-Brady duel in the, was it the AFC Championship game? And that was the last year the Pats won the Super Bowl with Brady. She wasn't alive. She was in Charlie's tummy about 4 weeks from being born. So she's a Chiefs fan. And of course, as a Swiftie, I mean, that's just gonna cement it now. So there's no chance. And what am I supposed to do? No, there's a kid named Drake May. He's awesome, Drake May. And we have Mike Vrabel too. He was a player on the teams when I was a kid. I actually love Mike Vrabel. You know, Mike Vrabel used to catch TDs for the Pats. They put him in as a tight end, right on the goal line. He just go in there and catch TDs. So Mike Vrabel and Troy Brown, two of my favorite football players, because they just had that do your job ethos that Belichick instilled. Troy Brown, wide receiver, who would play cornerback, whatever it takes. Belichick now, though, he's doing a lot more than his job. I tell you that much. So almost at mile 3 here. You know what else this shoe feels like? That was mile 3, 8:15 pace up the hill. This shoe feels like I'm not gonna get injured. That's what it feels like. Just feels like an absolutely bulletproof midsole, right in that not too soft, not too firm range, 8mm drop. Just so protective, man. Just protective and easy to run in. So yeah, speed would be nowhere near the way I marketed this shoe. If someone just gave this shoe to me, blank, all white, no colorway, it didn't tell me the name or the brand, I would think it's a Max Cushion Cruiser. That would be a nice recovery shoe for me, or a long run shoe for someone who wanted comfort and support. That is the vibe of this package. And what am I supposed to tell mates, man? Oh, we have Stephon Diggs. Yeah, there is nothing Sonic or blasty about this shoe. That's the shoe's biggest issue. You know, Asics has a trademark on Breeze because their gear is called Active Breeze. That would be a way better name for this shoe, the Smooth Breeze, something like that, man. Maybe even the Breeze Blast. I don't know, dude. Smooth Breeze, that's a good name. I'm surprised no running brand has done Breeze on their shoe. You know, Easy Breezy, or no, it's Easy Peasy. But people say that was a breeze. Don't they say that? Isn't that an expression? I think it is. This shoe is a breeze to running. That would be my suggestion. This is not Sonic-y and it's not blasty. It is good though. That was the issue with the Endorphin trainer as well. Endorphin is supposed to be fast. The Endorphin line of shoes, they're all fast. And you get endorphins when you run fast. You also get endorphins when you run relaxed, if you do it for long enough. But yeah, same issue. It's a naming and positioning issue. It's not an actual performance issue. Man, companies will literally pay $250,000 to $500,000 for this type of naming strategy advice. I'm giving out free game, brother. Free game. Oh, bro, another thing they could have done. What if they call this the Mega Breeze? And then instead of having a whole blast party, you have a breeze party. And then you could have the Breeze Ride Max. Look at that. I think we're onto something. Asics, you got to do the Breeze franchise. It's also funny because if you just told a random person which one is faster, we have two shoes, the Sonic and the Mega. Which one do you think is faster? I think 99% of people would say the Sonic. That's obviously the faster one. The Mega, that's obviously the more comfortable one. More cushion, Mega amped up. It's probably bigger, heavier, because it's Mega. Sonic is definitely way lighter. Sonic, man, speed of light. Nope. So that's the other weird thing. And I know with Mega, they were going for top of the line, bigger than Super. But it's just really this idea of speed that gets all the brands tripped up with this. Not everything needs to be fast. Not everything needs to be fast, man. And consumers are smart, they know that. We gotta get away from this idea that all of our shoes need to be positioned as speed shoes. It's ridiculous. Pull up in the Mega Breeze. Grind so hard, I broke the lemon squeeze. Falling from the trees like 11 leaves. I don't have aura, I have steez. Mile 5, 8-minute pace. You hating on me, bro? Tell a jogger, please. Still gotta figure out my new rhythm of the week and everything with back to school, because I'm on Wednesday and Friday drop-off duty. So Wednesday I'm doing the 4:30 a.m. wake up. Fridays, that's not gonna happen because I need to be rested for the long run, and we have Thursday night football, so gotta let a brother live. Watch some Thursday night football. So I'm figuring out the flow and everything. The first run reviews take more time, so I'm on the later side today. But typically my Friday work schedules are later. Typically. You never know though. And then there's a new rhythm with the training and everything too. Because Wednesdays I'll be going on the treadmill. Ended up doing my big workout yesterday on Thursday. So maybe that's just how it will be Thursdays and Sundays with the workouts. And I guess that's good because it gives 3 full days to recover after the long run workout on Sunday. Hey, shout out to Carson John Banks. Carson John Banks putting in work. CJ Banks. That kid is going places in life with a name like that. Doms is angry with me today. Big Doms. It's like Big Doms on the Eagles. You know that dude? Big Dom. He actually escorted Jalen Carter off the field. Big Doms is angry with me. You want to see Big Doms get angry with you. I typically train pretty conservatively, but I have not been recently. But I'm 6-7 weeks out from a marathon. Now is the time to be moderately reckless. And I don't even want to say reckless, but now is the time to push it. So 25-mile long run. Well, actually, from Thursday to Thursday, I did 14-mile tempo at race pace, 25-mile long run, and 4.5 miles faster than 5 kpr pace in a workout. So 3 different big workouts, all targeting different systems. I'm pulling on a lot of Daniels still, but now is the time to do that. It's not advisable to train like this all the time. You can't. But we're throwing everything at the body, and my whole theory is, let's just see how much work I can take. And you really have to know your own limits. And that's why I was saying I slowed down on the threshold repeats or the last 2-mile push, because I felt like I was just past my limit. My body was past its limit, so I slowed down. I found it. I found the limit point. And I still ran the 8-mile double later, but the speed is what really kills, as they say. So sometimes it's good to test limits. And my whole theory with this is that it's good to be conservative the vast majority of the time, but sometimes you got to go all in and put the chips on the table. And what am I scared of? I don't know, what's the worst that can happen? Said this before, but I don't know how long I'll be able to even train like this. So if I'm able to do it now, why not do it now? We're doing it big. And of course, you have to know your own body and understand the risks. But there's a risk to everything, man. There's a risk to just running out here. There's a risk to just walking out here. There's a risk every time you drive the car. Not to be morbid, but it's true. So as long as you accept the risks and you factor that into your training equation, I think you're good. But what's not smart is to do something without understanding your capabilities or the risk. For me, having gone 20 miles so many times for 2 years, I know that doing a 25-mile long run isn't too big of a training risk. But if you've only gone 12 miles and then you try to go 25, that's a big training risk. I actually saw something interesting recently that said a good 10% rule is not just, oh, there's Jim putting in work. What's up?
How are you?
Good, man. Sonicblast today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Man, you've been loving those other Asics.
The megas, yeah. Yeah. Dang, man, that was my friend Jim. I was crewing him at his ultra in July. He told me he tore his meniscus just the past week or so. Rescuing a toddler from an inflatable lion's head that the football team at his school, he's the athletic director at his school, they run out of this giant lion's head and a girl went under there. This is what I'm saying, man. There's risks everywhere. That's crazy, dude. Pouring out for Jim. Hopefully he'll be back on the grind this winter. I can already tell long run Sunday is gonna be a fight. My quads are cooked. Shout out to the quad father, by the way. It's my guy. That workout yesterday, though, that's probably one of the best that you can do. It reminded me of some of the stuff I programmed for Run Some Dang Hills. But it was essentially 4 minutes, 4 by 6, or no, 6 by 4 minutes at a hard effort, 8 out of 10 hard uphill. So you get the speed, you get the strength, you get the endurance, because it's more than 20 minutes of hard running. You're gonna trigger DOMs, you get the aerobic boost, you get everything, total package. And then if you can do the 2-mile push at the end, that's even better. But one of the most well-rounded workouts, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. You can do it in 45 minutes if that's all you have. 10-minute warm-up, cool down. For most people, I would suggest 5K pace, or even could be, sorry, not 5K pace. I would suggest 10K pace. Depending on the hill, maybe half marathon pace, but 10K effort for sure. 5K effort that was pretty nuts up the hill. You don't know what this feels like. This is an 8mm drop Vomero Plus with the plastic plate. I know people are gonna think I hate that shoe now. That's not true. We just weren't compatible, so I had to go on my own way, but I did give it a B+. This is looking like an A-. Maybe the Vomero Plus review got those guys so mad because they realized they were stuck in B+ relationships. Oh, look at that. That's an elegant and graceful flight formation right there. Gotta study those migratory patterns. It's the young CEO. I feel like Evan Spiegel. Hobby jogger hat on, cause I rep the people. I got a big squad, like the defensive Eagles. I'm the big dog. You just a precious beagle. But I'm not a rapper. Man, it's a great day to win a Grammy. Look at that. Yeah, this is a softer, smoother, slower Superblast. Another shoe that fixes all the issues that I had with the Superblast, but it just goes in the other direction. The Mega is faster and lighter. This is slower and heavier, but way more enjoyable to run in for me. One thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is it feels like in running, the common theme is that we don't want to be too sore to do the next workout. It's all about the next workout in running. Why is that? We don't want to do a workout that's too big, that's going to affect the next session. We're always thinking about the next session. I've really shifted my mentality this training block to be about, I want to win every session. I don't care if it takes 4, 5, 6 days to recover. And my plan right now is actually inspired by a Jack Daniels plan that alternates between 2 days or 2 workouts per week and 1 workout per week. Some people call it a 10-day cycle. It's kind of that, kind of not, but just bigger workouts less frequently. And of course, everyone's different, and you need a different stimulus depending on where you are in your running journey. But in lifting, there's not this fear about the next workout. It's how can I get a great workout today? How can I get the desired training effect today? And then we recover. That's been my mentality. We thrash and we recover. It's the yin and yang. If it takes 4 days to recover, who cares? Sometimes that's what we need to get bigger, faster, stronger. If we're recovering in a day from every workout, we're probably not advancing that much. The workouts are probably too easy, man. If you're able to run all your recovery runs at a 90-second pace off your race pace, your workouts are probably too easy. Man, I've run more 9-minute miles the past week than probably the past 5 years, because I'm doing these big workouts. They take a lot of recovery. So the paces come down, the recovery times get longer, but I'm really building some strength. I also think some part of training is learning how far you can go, learning to bury yourself 2 inches deeper each block, and where that limit is, or even increasing the limit. Being able to live in the pain better. And the other variable is when you're starting out, man, a 1 mile jog is pain. Or there is no jog. There's no jog, it's just walking or running. And that's the stimulus you need. But as you get faster, man, it's cutting the fat. Cutting the fat, there's less fat on that hog to cut off. You gotta climb higher to get the fruit. All the low-hanging fruit has been picked. It gets riskier once you're 90 feet up that tree, baby. Mile 10, 8:07. Man, I was chatty this morning, huh? It's probably a 35-minute run section. I don't even know.
Oh man, stackerator was still up. Grinding so hard, we forgot to take the stackerator down, man. It's not good. Yeah, 10 piece in the Sonicblast. New shoes dropping. That's a lot of cash. This is the type of shoe to make your mama fast. Alright, come on, Garmin. Let's go. 10 miles, 8:12 pace, 1 hour, 24 minutes, average 124. Heart rate is humid out here again, dude. Every time I think there's going to be a reprieve from the summer, nah. It's getting bothersome at this point. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm done with the humidity. I'm done with these swampy runs. I'm ready for 60-degree mornings. Gosh dang. But yeah, Sonicblast. More streamlined, smoother, softer version of the Super Blast. Comfortable shoe. And I think the reason this is probably getting mixed reviews or negative reviews is just people going into it with the expectations of having it be one thing, which is nobody's fault but Asics, because the positioning of the shoe with the name and everything is that it is a speed shoe. Sonicblast. It sounds like one of the fastest shoes ever created, which it is not. It's not that. It's more of a time on feet shoe, an impact absorption shoe with some balance and some fun. Same camp as the Neo Vista 2 and the Endorphin Trainer. And a lot of the shoes in this camp, they just get misunderstood and cast aside. They're the black sheep of the shoe tube world. But I like this shoe. It performed exactly how I wanted it to because I went into it with those expectations. A fast shoe, it is not. A transcendent banger, it is also not. But a really good shoe if you're looking for something that's going to be comfortable with no weirdness for the time on feet that will get the job done with some fun. So Asics Sonicblast is not Sonic, it's not Blasty, but I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Be looking like baby mamas in a Maserati. Question of the day. What is, not the best, but what is your favorite album intro song of all time? Or just right now, or one you like. I'll give you top 3. I mean, Alchemist, he just always kills it. The one I was listening to right now, 1985, Freddie Gibbs. Alchemist, and I was so happy to watch the interview they did with Complex because a part of me was feeling sad, just this heartbreak that Freddie Gibbs dissed Currency on the Alchemist beat. And Freddie Gibbs, he's just dissing everybody. He's just aggressive. And he explained in that interview, he said, I'm from Gary, Indiana. There's not a lot of rappers from where I'm from. It's kind of like how I feel. I'm in Mint Hill. We don't have any machine behind us. I'm just grinding out the mileage, not doing the majors. You got to have that chip on your shoulder energy. So I get it. He's aggressive. He's dissing everybody. But Alchemist and Currency, those are 2 of my favorite artists. They both represent the same thing. So I was sad that Freddie Gibbs was dissing Currency on an Alchemist beat. But Alchemist said in that Complex interview that he was neutral. So that made me feel happy. And he said, shout out Currency. That's my guy. So 1985, Freddie Gibbs, another great one, speaking of Alchemist and Currency, Gold BBS Flow. What is that song even called? The first song on Covert Coup. Sometimes I don't even know the song names for a lot of these Alchemist albums because I'll just listen to them so many times, just start to finish, but I don't even know the song names because I'm just listening to it while I'm cleaning the kitchen or whatever. But the intro to Covert Coup. And then, what's another good one? There's one I was just thinking about. Oh, of course, Thought It Was a Drought. Future always has great intros. The intro on, what's that album in 2023 that he dropped, or 2022? That's a really good one. But there was one other one that was top of mind. Oh, will it come to me or will it not? It was not an Alchemist. 1985, Covert Coup. Hold on. Oh, good morning, Kanye West graduation. There we go. That's the top 3. Good morning, Coverku, 1985, and then of course Future with Thought It Was a Joke. I guess that's the top 4. I'll come up with another 5. Another randomly good one, ESTG, on his I Don't Feel Nothing from 2020. That's a banger album intro. Anyway, we got the Asics Sonicblast here. This is not the Freddie Gibbs of running shoes. This is not an aggressive running shoe. This is not a shoe that's going to have you be randomly dissing people like you're a rapper from Gary, Indiana. This is more of a currency running shoe. You feel secure about yourself. You're calm. You're confidently driving your cars around, having a nice day, putting down some chill miles. Let's throw up the run from today. 10 miles at an 8 flat pace. The currency of running shoes. This thing is super chill, man. Nice, relaxed cruiser. Great protection. I really enjoyed it. It has this smooth character to it. Great rocker. A lot of just... The word that just keeps coming to mind is protection. It feels like a bulletproof shoe. It's not particularly flexible or anything, but you have this layer of FF Turbo squared up top. You have the FF Blast Max on the bottom with the plastic plate. It still has some of that plate snap. Now, I didn't test it with any speed paces today. I was really smooth right around that 8 flat pace range, but it very much feels like a beefed up Nova Blast. A Nova Blast that's not going to get too mushy in the forefoot. A Nova Blast that doesn't have the chop. It feels like they cleaned up some of the complaints with that shoe, made it more robust. It is, I don't even want to say it's on the heavier side, it's 280 grams, but I guess compared to a speed shoe maybe on the heavier side, but it's still 30 grams lighter than the Brooks Hyperion Max 3. So overall, really solid shoe. The issue is just the naming and the positioning. Asics is putting this in the Blast family, so with that, people are going into this ride with the expectations of, okay, it's going to be a faster Super Blast because, hey, Super Blast doesn't have the plastic plate. This has a plastic plate. It's going to be a Magic Speed replacement, and maybe it is if you use the Magic Speed for a race shoe, but where it's really competing in the market is that 4-hour race shoe, that comfortable long run shoe, the Max Stack Cruiser. If you look at the Neo Vistas of the world, if you look at the Endorphin Trainers of the world, you could even throw the Hyperion Max 3 in there. The S4 Plus was another Asics shoe that did that, but that had the carbon plate. This one is sliding in nicely to that. It reminds me a lot with the nice smooth geometry, the roll, the Goldilocks, not too soft, not too firm. It reminds me a lot of the feel of the S4 Plus, but even less aggressive. So the issue here is really just the Sonicblast naming and the expectations of the shoe. And also, just the market. We want everything. And when I say we, it's the royal we. It's the we of the consumers of running shoes. And by the way, so here's the thing. Earlier this week, the issue was the cord, and then it was this. Can you hear that? I'll show you. It's this thing. It's the microphone cover. And if it's slightly offset, all the little nodules, look at this. I'll show you. Hold on. So you see this thing right here? It's a little inside baseball. If this is like this, then these little holes right here are gonna pick up the wind sounds. If it's just like this, it has to be like this. So that's why you're picking up all the wind sounds. I apologize, man. I don't always notice until the editing because the thing is off. So today, hopefully, is on. We as consumers, we want everything to be fast, or at least that's what the brands think. The Gel Nimbus 25 was the last time I really saw a brand attacking the comfort angle and embracing the comfort angle. And they did testing similar to what Puma did with the Fast R3, the efficiency testing in the lab. Asics paid for the Gel Nimbus 25. Think back to a few years ago. They paid to have a research study done that proved that was the most comfortable shoe out there. Adidas did a similar thing with the Supernova line. That was the whole reason why they brought the Supernova Prima and the Rise to market. And with that, they did this whole study, not of the shoes themselves, but of consumer attitudes. And what they were proving with that study is the reason that a lot of people quit running. It's not because the shoe doesn't feel fast enough. That would be a preposterous reason for somebody to quit running. Nobody runs for the first time and says, oh, wow, my shoes were too slow today. No. What they discovered was that a lot of people quit running because of discomfort. Right? The majority of people out there, if you're going to run 1 mile, is going to be a miserable experience. You don't want your shoe to also be a miserable experience. You don't want your shoe to be too aggressive and too uncomfortable. So Asics was attacking that a few years ago. Adidas was attacking that with the Supernova Prima. Now it just seems like speed, speed, speed. Everybody's chasing speed. All the innovation is in speed. All the marketing copy is in speed. Even if you look at shoes like the Gel Nimbus or the Bandai or the Vomero Plus, these shoes that are designed to be top tier comfort shoes, the marketing copy and the positioning is still all about energy return and bounce. Now, as a reviewer, I love energy return. I love bounce. I love when a shoe gives me some assistance, which is why I was burying the New Balance More V6 as a performance running product, because it completely sapped all the energy out of my legs and it had no bounce. That is a very comfortable walking shoe, but it just has nothing in terms of the bounce for running. So of course there's a blend. Both sides are important. We don't want shoes that are bricks that have no return or bounce or feelings of forward movement, but we also don't want everything to be a speed shoe. If you are training appropriately, like I was saying out there, you're going to be doing 1 to 2 really solid speed runs per week. If you are training appropriately, even the most aggressive marathon training programs out there, people complain that Rana is too aggressive. That's gonna give you, what, 2, 3 max workouts per week? I would not advise doing 3 workouts per week, but 2 workouts per week, 3 workouts per week, max, right? And the more that you run and train, I run doubles every single day during the week. So that's 10 runs from Monday to Friday, plus a Saturday and Sunday run usually. So 12 runs per week. 2 of those are speed runs. The other 10 are relaxed runs where all I care about is completing the distance. There's my wife. Looking good. Hot mama. Sorry, I was just distracted by my wife's beauty. I was getting highly animated. What was I saying? I feel like Stephen A. Smith. The thing is, dude, you see Stephen A. Smith had Ben Shapiro on his podcast? Ben Shapiro's got to be one of the top 5 least likable people in America. Maybe ever. Maybe ever. Attractive wife, Ben Shapiro. My entire point here, not everything needs to be fast. There are some shoes out there that can just be comfortable and smooth. They're leveraging the power of the Blast name. What I was saying is 2 runs per week or 3 runs per week max that are speed workouts. That leaves you with, if you're at the peak of your training, even a professional marathoner, they're going to be doing 8 to 9 to 10 runs per week that are just about the time on feet. So that means 8 out of every 10 shoes, 9 out of every 11 shoes, 10 out of every 12 shoes should be a comfort shoe, not a speed shoe. And for me, this one really does feel like it could handle the 10 runs on my calendar personally. We got longevity out here putting in work. This one really does feel like it can handle the 10 out of the 12 runs per week for me that are not speed runs, that are not workouts. I'm going for the Ray if it's a workout. I'm going for the Edge or the Sky if it's a workout out of Asics. I'm going for the Mega Blast out of Asics. That's what, 4 shoes I just mentioned. They're also coming out with the Magic Speed. That would be a 5th speed shoe out of Asics. We don't need everything to be super fast. So just in terms of what the ride of this is, very pleasant, Goldilocks zone, great stability, really smooth roll, comfort and support. So lots of good qualities. Now, not so great qualities. Of course, what we've been discussing is not the fastest shoe out there. If you want the utmost in speed, this is not it. Another thing is the transition, it just wasn't the quickest. And I think that might be why people are having an issue with this. If you are expecting this to be this quick, snappy shoe, that's not what it's about. It's about the impact absorption and the protection. So that could either be a good thing or the bad thing. But you got to remember, you're getting 45 gosh dang millimeters of stack in the back at 280 grams with a foam composition and density that doesn't read as super firm. That is impressive. That's really impressive. So if shoes like the Neo Vista are too soft, if shoes like the Superblast are too firm, this is gonna be the Goldilocks zone. You just gotta come into it with the right expectations. This is not gonna be the fastest shoe in your rotation unless it's your first plated shoe, which is what I believe Asics is trying to do with this, but they just do not have the cojones to say it. So I will say it for them. This is a beginner type of running shoe or a longer time on feet shoe. It's engineered to have the coolest, newest, most innovative materials while also being highly accessible and comfortable. So with that, let's close it out with the 3 questions that we always ask and answer in these first round reviews. First, how does this shoe compare to its intended purpose? Well, if you want to compare it to the intended purpose that Asics is saying, it's a D. It's not fast, it's not very blasty, it's not very quick. The Mega Blast is a lot faster. I don't know if the Super Blast is faster. And it's not that this is a super slow shoe. It's not like the Brooks Glycerin 22, but just versus what you would think with the name Sonic Blast, what you would think with the marketing copy, no, it's not super quick. So that's where the issue comes into play. Now, I knew coming into this that it was not going to be that. I just knew, given the materials, given how they were tiptoeing around it. So if you come into it knowing the intended purpose is long run cruiser with some ability to pick up the pace, knowing the intended purpose is a shoe that feels great at 8, 9, 10-minute paces, knowing the intended purpose is pseudo injury prevention or comfort or just taking that burden off your legs. If you come into that with those expectations, beefed up Nova Blast or slightly more streamlined Super Blast leans to more the comfort direction versus speed, then it does a really nice job at the intended purpose. I would give it an A- for that. Now, compared to the shoes in the category, again, not the quickest out there, but the lightweight to foam ratio is really impressive. So another engineering feat out of Asics. They are just crushing it with the R&D right now. If you compare this to Hyperion Max 3, which is a very similar stock height, the upper is a lot more comfortable than the Hyperion Max 3. That's also something I should call out here. Really nice fit and feel on the upper, wide, forgiving. It was not hard to put my foot down in this at all. If you have a wide foot, I think you will really like this one because it just has a lot of room. And you can see how tight I have these laces cinched down. So not gonna be for narrow-footed runners, but bigger runner, wider foot, this is gonna be awesome. Toe box also has decent volume in there and length as well. So that's another thing versus the category. Some of these speed shoes like the Mach X2, the Hyperion Max 3, they just have this more aggressive fit and feel. This does not. So more comfort oriented versus the category. Not as comfort oriented as the Neo Vista 2, but less weirdness. So more comfort, less weird, less speed. And if it sounds like a boring shoe or a milquetoast shoe, I would say maybe it is in some senses, and maybe again that's where it's some of the reviewer displeasure is coming in. But to me, it's a nice change of pace from a lot of these shoes that are just aggressive for no reason. It's almost like a lot of these plated shoes, they're as aggressive as the race shoes, but then they're not as fast. So it's a less comfortable daily trainer that's not as fast as a race shoe. That's my entire problem with this category. It's why I did not like the Gloomfly Bricks. This is not that. It's a more comfortable or just as comfortable daily trainer, and then you get the long run capability because you get the stiffening agent with the plate. It's not gonna bottom out. And then they give you 2 really nice foams in here with a lot of dampening and impact protection. And you gotta think about the trade-offs as well. The word dampening is what comes to mind because the bottom layer of foam, it really does feel like it's dampening the impact. So if you want a shoe that's easy on the legs, this is gonna be great, but the trade-off is it doesn't have as much bounce and snap. Now, compared to the Mega Blast, that's the speedier shoe. That's the shoe that's just the wow factor. There's not a lot of wow factor in here, but again, not everybody wants a wow factor shoe. So Mega Blast, I still do think that's the greatest running shoe of all time, and a lot of people are gonna love that, but it does encourage you to run faster and push yourself. That's the one downside with that shoe. This doesn't have that. This is more of a capable, relaxed cruiser. So it just depends what you're looking for, right? The Mega Blast to me is transcendent banger, but I know not everybody wants even just those words, right? Not everybody wants a banger for a running shoe. Some people maybe just want something that's gonna help them get to the finish line. So that is the type of shoe that this is right here. Question number 3, how does this compare to everything else on the market, and is the price fair? $180, that feels 100% completely fair. That feels like what this should be priced versus everything else out there. I mean, Hyperion Max 3 is 200, Neo Vista is 200, Superblast is 200, Hyperion or Mach X3 and Mach X2 were 190. Mach X2 is actually now down at 150 on Running Warehouse, so if you don't have upper issues and you're looking for a speed trainer, you can get that. But yeah, it feels fair, and versus everything else on the category in the market, it's just a nice blend. It's a very do-it-all feeling shoe, especially if your paces are more of that 8, 9, 10 minute range, 11 minute range, and you don't want the most aggressive feel. So that is something to think about with the shoe. It has the plate like the Neo Vista 2, but it's not the most aggressive like the Neo Vista 2. So that's the one that keeps coming to mind. The Neo Vista 2 does just have this more experimental, way softer feel to it. This is more restrained. This is more straight down the center of the plate. It's not the quickest, but it's also not unstable. There's just nothing wrong with it. So a really nice, comfortable type of package, just like cinnamon oatmeal in the morning on a nice fall day, right? It's just something that a lot of people would like. It's not gonna blow your mind, but it's also not a brick or anything like that. So I really like it. If you're looking for a 4-hour shoe, and of course I'll test it on the long run. This is a first run review, so I'm hypothesizing here, but it feels like it would be a really nice 4-hour marathon shoe if you want something that's comfortable for time on feet. A really nice first race shoe if you're looking to experiment with that snappier feel from a plate, but you don't want the harshness and the aggression of carbon. It also, just given what we know about Asics, should hold up well to the 300 mile mark, and this does feel like a shoe out of the box that I will put 100 miles on because it's just a nice one to run in. So overall, I give it a thumbs up. I will give it an A-. Again, it's not the Mega Blast, and I really like that. If I weren't reviewing shoes, I'd probably just be running in that all the time, but it is giving you something different from the Mega Blast, slightly more comfort oriented, wider toe box here. If you just picked up the Mega Blast and you're liking that, there's no reason to get this, but this would be an alternative for somebody who doesn't want to spend $225, or for whom the idea of having the bounciest, most aggressive training shoe out there, or just the most exciting training shoe out there, someone for whom that's not really top of the list, more of comfort, time on feet. If you liked the Supernova Prima, or you're a Brooks Glycerin wearer, or typically a Nimbus Nova Blast wearer that's looking to get your first plated shoe, bang, that's what the Sonicblast is for. I still think they should call this the Asics Smooth Breeze instead of the Asics Sonicblast, but hey, I'm just a hobby jogger. So with that, that is all I have for you today. We still do have some of the Hobby Jogger OG hats for sale at hobbyjogger.com. We'll be flipping over to the fall merch soon. The drop is coming very soon. I had to pop out with the summer shirt on though, because it's still, gosh dang, 80 degrees out here in the Carolinas. I actually told Barrett, bro, we got to get a t-shirt in the fall drop, because I know I'm just going to be standing out here in a t-shirt for the breakdowns, and I basically wear t-shirts every day. So we'll have a t-shirt too in the fall drop. Shout out to my guy from Australia, by the way, who bought 7 Hobby Jogger hats. I was not expecting that. I got to pack up his order today. I just saw it come through this morning. That was a banger. Shout out to AD putting in work. All right, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. The looks of this is also fire, man. I would highly recommend this colorway. So good looking. Banger. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? Aw. All right, man, one more thing. Should put down another 10-piece in the afternoon heat. Absolutely brutal out here, man. I swear, this is the never-ending summer. It is just not stopping. The humidity is super high. Also, 10-10 doubles are just the hardest way to get 20 miles in a day, because you do the morning run, especially on tired legs, man. You do the morning run, we're tired, then we come back on the afternoon run. Yeah, that is slow. 8:37 pace, 130 heart rate. It's also just so humid out here, but Sonicblast, some more thoughts on it, because we got 20 miles now in a 20-mile day. Very relaxed, high cushion feel. Again, not a fast shoe. I did want to highlight, though, I think this is going to be a polarizing one because of that more relaxed, just, I think the word would be gummy or gelatinous. It has this quality to it that's almost gummy, and it's the bottom layer of FF Blast Max. You can even see as I push it in here, it's not snapping right back.
if I push in this top layer of FF Turbo Squared, it snaps back. This is more, it just stays there, and I can feel that out on the ride. And it's a double-edged sword because the impact protection is awesome, and it gives this really smooth feel. There's no choppiness to it at all. But then you're not flying right off. You're not snapping right back like with the Mega Blast. So if you like that impact protection, if you like that really smooth cushion feel, this is going to be a good one, especially if you don't want something aggressive. But if you want something peppier or livelier, this is not going to be it. So I really think this is going to be a polarizing one. If you want peppy and lively, that's the Mega Blast. If you want smooth and comfortable and cushioned, that's going to be the Sonic Blast. Terrible name, solid shoe. Yeah, it's in that B+, A- tier for sure. I mean, anytime where I'm doing a 20-mile day, fresh out the box, it's a good shoe. It's just, I really do think this is going to be a polarized one. It's a misunderstood one, and it all comes down to the positioning and the marketing. So mileage train rolling, man. Let's see how many miles we have on the week now. 123.5 according to Garmin. That's from Sunday to Friday. I'm feeling it in my legs, man. Doms is angry. So recovery train also needs to be rolling, and the cleanup train needs to be rolling as well. We have packages everywhere. The stack check tools, we got to get to it, man. I will see you tomorrow. Be back with another video. Let's go. Hunting season. Ah. One more thing, man. No Gardner Minshew today. This is a Pat Mahomes level Friday night meal from Charles, starting QB. We have the roasted chickpeas. Oh, you want to show yours? Okay, yeah, definitely. What do you have on yours?
It's broccoli and
broccolini.
Broccolini.
Yeah.
And broccolini.
And rice. That's brown rice, mommy, huh? Brown rice came through with the healthy rice, and then I have some Beyond sausage, butternut squash, and hot honey. You didn't know about that though. That's just the extra sauce. The hobby driver. Covert. I did. It's spicy though. You're not gonna want it. It's spicy. It's super hot spicy.